ETI provided some £50,000 in funding, provided we stumped up time, effort, resources for the project to the value of £100,000. Some of the resources paid for the Independent Waste Minimisation Bureau, money well spent, let me tell you. His experience, knowledge were never present during this exercise, and if we could have bottled him, we would have made a fortune. Governmental and regulatory bodies were there to help, and help they did, providing direction, new and already tried ideas, and most importantly, sat in the steering group to make sure we continue to identify and put measures in place to secure those win-win benefits. It's said that for small improvements in waste minimisation, we can put 1% or so straight onto the bottom line of our business. How do we do that? Well, we're going to secure the quick hits to get buy-in, demonstrate simple measures to make early gains, share that £10,000 to encourage people, plan longer-term gains, speculate to accumulate. Some improvements will require deeper investigation. Some improvements will test courage of conviction and a repentance. Capital expenditure based on acceptable payback has to be a mandate. However, we can demonstrate through this project a good environment is good business. Similarly, we looked at our waste streams from one of our bottling plants, generating some 4,000 tonnes of waste. We made sure segregation at source happened. We made sure we had a mini recycling facility at the site to ensure it was prepared, ready to go to the recycler. And what gets measured gets managed, because we established that waste management can almost become cash neutral or indeed provide additional financial benefits for the business. I'm not going to tell people how to manage waste. I have established some minimisation of waste procedures. But what I would say is people need to be involved in minimising waste. The board, the management, operators, suppliers, contractors, waste company, procurement, visitors, everyone's got to get involved. For us, one of the benefits, 5% of wastage and £50 million of raw materials is now tracked at 1.5%. This is targeted and looked at every week in the production site. Our pollution has been reduced, we now have efficient use of our resources, and our environmental performance has improved. I'll leave you with one message: publicise what's being achieved and foster that culture.
Thank you very much, John. Very interesting achievements and messages there. One quick question before we go on to the panel discussion. No? Right, okay.
I have a very quick question. Sorry, we're here for John. This morning we heard from BT and they were talking about mandatory adjudication for suppliers. And I just wondered, obviously your suppliers have been very cooperative, and I wondered if that was something you might consider as well.
I certainly do, Adrian. £50 million of spend with 7 suppliers, and they're going to get involved. However, there was that trepidation at the start, but once our independent chat went in and showed them the benefits, and bear in mind we're looking for their cost per item to manage correctly, they could see the savings that we made. They made the savings and their financial perspective and picked up.
Okay, thank you. Well, perhaps I can now ask our 2 speakers to join me here on the platform, and of course here, and also our 3 experts for the panel discussion. Nick Eyre, Director of Strategy for the Savings Trust, Martin Gibson, Programme Director for EnviroWise, and Mark Simpson, Technical Design Director for Philips Lighting. Right, well, perhaps I could start off, if I may, by just asking our 3 experts on the panel to introduce themselves a little bit more and say a little bit about where they're coming from with this, and perhaps I'll add a couple of words about what I've been up to, and then we'll move on to the discussion. So, would you like to start?
Thanks very much, Martin. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very impressed with the previous speakers, partly because they reinforced that what I'm about to say really does happen. Environwise is there to help businesses use fewer materials and produce less waste, thereby being more resource efficient. It's meant to optimise our operations and gives advice free to all sectors of business in the UK. Thinking back to this morning, one of the speakers talked about product journey, and I'd like you to think in terms of carbon, thinking about everything that you use. It comes from somewhere, it's transported, it's refined, it's transported, it's manufactured, it's transported, it's used. And if you can use less for the outcome that you want for your business, you will save carbon at every step on the way because you will be using less throughout. It's easy to begin with your own and then to hopefully spread out to look upstream and downstream. The hardest trick is going to be step change so that we can actually make the level of change necessary to meet the challenges. But hopefully Environwise will be able to help people do that. And just one final thought, for those who were here for the talk this morning about booze and shampoo, they said 93% of the impact was in use. You'll see I do walk the talk, I don't use much shampoo.
Thank you very much, Martin. Right, Michael, you want to just introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. I'm the lighting person here. And I've heard all of the jokes about very illuminating and bright parts. I won't have any of those. I work for Philips. Probably most of you heard of Philips on the advantages of working for a big multinational. Making televisions and toothbrushes, but we also have to be the largest lighting manufacturer in the world, making not just the light sources but also the equipment that goes into them. Earlier this year, you might have picked up some of the national press about plans to ban the light bulb. I'm happy to discuss that with where we should, if you want to, all going in the direction of saving energy and saving CO2. In fact, I'll just leave you one figure to perhaps start the discussion on. We've calculated that lighting in total is about 19% of the generated electricity. So we can't make some savings. There's some very easy fixes.
Okay, thank you. And then finally, Nick, would you like to say a few words about the
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I'm retrospect of the Energy Saving Trust. The remit of the Energy Saving Trust is principally to help individuals save energy and carbon. I don't feel like I'm going to come out of place at a conference about corporate responses for three reasons. One is part of the work we do is directly facing businesses to help people with fleet energy use and reducing the emissions and greening that fleet. The two other areas are, of course, because businesses interact with individuals, and they do so principally in two ways. Dave has already flagged one actually, which is that people are workers, and the good practice at home and the good practice at work rub off against each other. We have a network of 50 energy efficiency advice centres across the country. They are very happy in general to come and talk to people in the workplace. It's a good way for them to talk about how people can save energy at home and in transport. It's also a good way for business to get the message of corporate responsibility over and see that feed into the workplace. The third, of course, is that individuals are consumers of businesses, and we work with businesses, principally those who are producing goods and services for individuals, and are the logo that most of you will be familiar with is our energy saving recommended logo, which identifies the top most energy efficient products that people can use to save energy and save carbon in their own homes. Called energy at the moment rather than carbon because that's what most people still care about, saving money rather than saving carbon. All the things are moving. And we are always happy to talk to both manufacturers and retailers to encourage them to use that and to spread our message to their customers who are citizens of the UK.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, perhaps I could just have a chairman's prerogative and say a few words about where I come from in all of this. I've got a number of different roles, as you would have heard. I chair ESTA, the Energy Service and Technology Association.